So he's safe, but it's a very concerning situation. His family, his wife, is in house arrest in his house, and Bobby is hiding somewhere in the country.
And have there been active threats on his life and that of his family in the run-up to these recent elections?
Very much so. It's quite a regime. So General Muhoozi, who's the son of...
Alright, as we speak of now, pressure escalates in the State House of Uganda. General Muhoozi, after swearing to kill His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Kugambye, olutalo lw'amaanyi omukyala kyamukola ku international media ageza kukubeera nga amukuba left right with center. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Kugambye ne kati ate bano bakubeera nga bategeera gyali era omusango gwa terrorism bamaze dda kubeera nga bagimuteekako batya ogenda kubeera nga obinyoka maasawo naye nga tetunagenda yonyongera okujukiza video eno soko jimpereka like bwoba omaze subscribing wegatiko mukutu gwaffe guno omukulu oyo gulumutulangula ku screen yo y'omu ku international reporters abasookera ddala okubeera nga bajja ku His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni interview era wetwogerera ssaawa zino anaatera okubeera nga awumula naye agambye nedda we yajja ku Museveni interview yali akyali muto ne olaba omusajja mpaka ne kati akyafuga Uganda ate nga mutabani we threatening okutta aba opposition nedda abiganye soko mumulirize eno interview ebadde very important olunaku olwaleero wali ku Link News.
So he's safe, but it's a very concerning situation. His family, his wife, is in house arrest in his house, and Bobby is hiding somewhere in the country.
And have there been active threats on his life and that of his family in the run-up to these recent elections?
Very much so. It's quite a regime. So General Muhoozi, who's the son of Museveni, he has even threatened to behead, to cut off the head of Bobi Wine when he gets him in his hands. There's been threats all the time along, and of course there's been a lot of abductions of militants of NUP and other opposition parties.
I think before we get into the details and the Foundation's view on what is taking place within Uganda, I'd love to hear about the Friedrich Naumann Foundation's work with the NUP, that is of course the body and the party led by Bobi Wine.
So thank you very much, Naledi. So Bobi Wine, he's actively in politics since a couple of, let's say, 10 years. And 8 years ago, the Friedrich Naumann Foundation gave him an award for his achievement to become politically active in such a difficult environment. That is the Friedrich Naumann Foundation Africa Freedom Prize. Now, it's the second time now that he stands as a presidential candidate. The first time in 2021 and now again. But before that he was already a member of parliament for his party, the NUP. And since then he's really built up structures of a party which is a real party now with different structures in the whole of Uganda.
Yeah. Just in the run-up to those elections last week, we did see reports as well, and this was being reported across the world really, of an internet shutdown in Uganda, and that also led to questions about the safety of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who is known as Bobi Wine. On Saturday, however, he was able to release this video on social media. Let's take a look at that quickly.
We reject whatever is being declared by Mr. Byabakama, because those so-called results that they're declaring are fake and they don't in any way reflect what happened at the polling stations or what is at the declaration forms. And therefore, those results, the so-called results, are fake. After arresting almost all our agents, after ballot stuffing, and after shutting off the internet, the regime is trying to once again rig the elections. What happened in the polling station is a completely different story, and we demand that the internet be restored and the rightful declaration forms and tally sheets from the districts are uploaded on the internet so that the people of Uganda can see the rightful results in transparency.
Now, what Bobi Wine did in that video as well was assure his followers that he is alive, that he was able to escape house arrest. What do we know about his safety at the moment?
So this morning we talked to the Secretary General of the NUP, David Lewis, and he confirmed us that Bobby is safe. He's hiding. So in a telephone conversation you wouldn't say where he's hiding. We think he's still in the country. How could he have left the country? So he's safe, but it's a very concerning situation. His family, his wife, is in house arrest in his house, and Bobby is hiding somewhere in the country.
And have there been active threats on his life and that of his family in the run-up to these recent elections?
Very much so. it's quite a regime. So General Muhoozi, who's the son of Museveni, he has even threatened to behead, to cut off the head of Bobi Wine when he gets him in his hands. There's been threats all the time along, and of course there's been a lot of abductions of militants of NUP and other opposition parties.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, where these threats are being made, and there's the threats to behead Bobi Wine, I mean, it's frightening when you think about it, but you also have many supporters in Uganda that are very much in support of Bobi Wine. What that means for stability in Uganda at the moment.
Yeah, well, the supporters, it's amazing how courageous they are. There's many supporters, and well, of course, nobody is safe in that country in such a situation, and we can just hope that the violence will calm down.
71.65%. That's the result. That was declared as the win for Yoweri Museveni. I mean, initial reactions when you look at those numbers.
Yeah, I think you must put it into brackets that cannot be the result. I just can't imagine that with a young population in like in Uganda, which is the youngest in all of Africa. It's an average age of 16, and there's so many new voters, and we know that they support people like Bobi Wine, and they want a regime where they can be safe and where human rights are respected. And it's been a fight of an 81-year-old against a 43-year-old, and I personally just can't believe the results. And even if these are the results, then we must say, like Bobi has been saying, that the elections haven't been fair and just. All the way up to the elections, there's been intimidation, there's been internet shutdowns, you just mentioned it. So it was not fair elections, so this result is highly questionable.
The role of regional bodies on the continent where this conversation comes about. I mean, there's the discussion about the age of Yoweri Museveni, an 81-year-old man, a 7th term as president, again, president since 1986. And then you've got the likes of Paul Biya on the continent as well over 90. Are regional bodies doing and saying enough?
I don't think so, and I think it's good that you refer to the regional bodies, and it is an African thing, right? It's, in my view, it's much less the international community who can do something here. Of course, they must also have a view and say something on that. But the regional bodies, and especially the EU Commission, I personally am very decepted. I'm very disappointed by the EU Commission statement, because the statement wasn't only congratulating Museveni on his win, but even commending the conduct of the elections, and that's really too much.
Ovuba tutegedde oluzungu lwayogedde WhatsApp namba yange weeri awo mu bio osobola okuinboxinga ne tubeera nga nkunyonnyola biki byeyayogedde awo wenyini His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi akugamba ye ataliwedde okubeera nga ava mu nsiko gye ayekweseewa awo wenyini ku kyayogedde ku kyogamba mu nsiko abasajja kikisaasinze okubeera nga kibatiisa bajjire Muhoozi kubanga baba tebamanyi biki byagenda okuzzako naye babeera nga bamulabako wali Magere baba bagamba ali Magere tewali kyasobola okubeera nga kola video ino soko mudize naye nga kunyonnyola.
We don't trust the courts in Uganda. The courts in Uganda are all serving the system. They're all serving the regime. Just today, as we speak, a new Chief Justice has just been appointed by Museveni. Today, now he's appointing a new Chief Justice to adjudicate a case where he is petitioned against. And I mean, the courts in Uganda have been part of the decay for a long time, to the extent that the recent election of 2021, the Chief Justice demonstrated bias. But also, even a few times when the courts in Uganda have ordered for reforms, electoral reforms, the military regime has always flatly rejected them. So we see no hope, and we have no confidence in the court system. Our confidence is in the people of Uganda, and we've called upon the people of Uganda to defy the regime, to practice all manner of protests, including civil disobedience, for as long as it's non-violent and it's legal.